Hello! Today we are here to review Merchants of the Dark Road, the latest from Elf Creek Games. Before we do that, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can keep up with all of our shenanigans that we have coming up. So this one was recommended to us by Ta Coleman, who is one of our followers, subscribers. We appreciate the recommendation and we wanted to get it to the table. We've been wanting to get it to the table anyway.
Right.
It's been sitting down there since it came in, and we were eager to get it out. But Rob, tell us about this game.
All right, so Merchants of the Dark Road was released via Kickstarter. It's not available for retail yet, 2022. Overall rank is 2,108, but it's rated at 7.7. Designed by Brian Sue, I think. Art by Andrew Bosley.
Sure that's not right.
Yeah, I don't think so. I apologize. Andrew Bosley, Joey Julian, Matt Packett and Company. Published by Elf Creek Games, as Randy said. MSRP, well, it depends. So if you buy just the deluxe game, it's $169.99. But there's also upgrades that you can get. So I think I priced it around $60 for the mini expansion and all the upgrades you get, which is 3 small boxes that you get in addition to this.
And we got those all in here. So everything's in this.
And so I don't know how much the retail version is going to be for, so we'll have to wait until that's available. But I did see a deluxe version of just the deluxe version, not the upgrades, for $115 on Geek Market.
Oh, that's...
So, yeah, it's not a bad price.
Yeah. So when we got this out, I got to say, I was overwhelmed. I had no idea the pieces were going to be this nice because I saw a copy of this at Gen Con and I was underwhelmed when I passed by it. You kept talking about how great this game is.
Oh yeah, I've been
quality perspective.
Yeah, I kickstarted it, and not to brag, but my name is one of those itty bitty little names in the box.
Can you zoom in on it? No.
I'm in there.
Yeah, he's in there.
I'm in there.
Well, yeah, now you're in there.
I'm in there.
All right, so. Yeah, I did not kickstart it.
Right.
So my name is not in there. But when I heard you talking about it, and then we got a recommendation from our pals Nick and Vic from Envy Board Gaming, I was like, okay, you guys talked me into it. So I went and backed it, but I had to get it through Game Steward. Yeah. So I paid a little more for mine. But then when I saw it at Gen Con, I guess it was not... It was not the deluxe copy. It might have been the retail version. And I was not impressed with what I saw as far as the components. Now, I was just walking past and I was not directly there. Mm-hmm. So it may have been something I just didn't see the upgrades. But when I got this out, I was blown away. I couldn't believe the quality. I mean, the lanterns are actual miniature lanterns.
They remind me of the Anachrony stuff.
That or the Stonemeyer upgrades. Mm-hmm. But they're larger, I think, than the Stonemeyer. And they fit into the slot where the cardboard would go, which is really nice. There's pieces that are just markers on the board that there's no reason they need to be upgraded, but they're beautiful. You
got wooden silk screened wood wagon tokens, which look really nice.
And they match the boards, which are all custom. Yeah. The dice are really beautiful. There's the large market dice. Then you have the see-through crystal
for travel
dice. You have 2 shades.
The night dice.
The night dice are amazing.
Really cool.
I love the colors on the night dice.
The
illuminated dice.
And then you also have the Oracle, or whatever you call that die, as well as the travel die, the ruins die.
And then you have these crystals that are beautiful crystals that are orange.
The bags that keep your token.
Oh yeah, the bags are all embroidered, different colors. Yeah. They pinch at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also have a drawstring on them.
And the money tokens are, and they're not just nice, they're just uniquely shaped.
Well,
which makes them so
cool. And they're
cool.
multicolored. I mean, these are the best, I have to say, the best coins. I thought Scythe coins were amazing.
Yeah.
These are
better. They are amazing, but these are better.
These are better. And then you also get storage now.
That works.
The storage itself is amazing and works well. The instructions on how to put things into
all back
storage.
In the box. Yeah, there's a lot that needs a lot to be designed.
I mean, I give them an E for effort because they put together a chart to show you how it's supposed to go in there. but everything is just laying on top of one another, and there's no
I had
way
to end up going online and watch the video from Elk Creek.
Caleb and I spent I don't know how long trying to figure it out, and then this time I took pictures of it before I got it, so I have overhead pictures. So yeah, it was a chore putting this away.
I mean, I think that we haven't got the quality.
And then the magnet. The magnet.
Oh yeah, and the spinner on here is not attached; it's a magnet. It's built into the board, and it just goes right on. I mean, everything is beautiful in this. There's just very low card. Matter of fact, I punched all the cardboard out, and I realized I didn't need most of it. I just was going to discard it. So the only things you need cardboard for are this is part of it.
Tokens.
Well, there's cards for these. They upgraded them in, if they call it an upgrade, in one of the add-ons, and then the missions that you or the deliveries and the goods and the goods are foil,
but they're really nice. You got foil on one side for the advanced item, and then you got the standard, which is still, but they're still pretty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you have to guess, this is a 10. I mean, I want to give it 11.
Yeah.
But, my dial only goes up to 10. I might have to get that special Spinal Tap dial for this game because, this makes all of our 10s
so beautiful.
Look bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, this knocks it out of the park as far as quality.
Yeah. I agree. Straight up 10.
It's high quality.
Yeah.
I mean, the player boards are great.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even talk about that.
They're inlaid.
They're double layered. They're inlaid. As Randy mentioned, a lot of your components fit on the board and they fit well. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything they could have done to enhance this anymore. It's if you get the deluxe version.
Right. So I highly recommend getting the
if you're going to get this game, get the Kickstarter version. If you have to pay a little extra for it,
it's worth it.
So that's quality. You gave your score 10 as well?
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Let's go on to theme. So the theme of this is really interesting. It's basically you're in a world where the seasons last for like 13 weeks, and each round of this game is a week. So you are in winter right now, and it's dark all winter. So I guess we're playing in Alaska. So basically you have 13 weeks of darkness, and you're making merchants on a road traveling to make deliveries. And the one problem with the theme I have is that the dark road, which in theory is supposed to be more dangerous, is actually more rewarding to the person that goes on the mission.
Which we haven't explained that
yet.
we'll
get to that when we get to gameplay.
But you're right.
It takes you a little bit out of the theme, but otherwise it's a real interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, basically you travel around the village to get your stuff, then you'll go over here to deliver. And it's just really neat how you just travel to get your stuff, and then you go make the delivery.
It makes me wonder if they're setting up for seasons, like expansion. Like
that would be cool. Like the summer version would be different.
The summer, because I mean, they've clearly made the story about this one season,
right?
And there's 3 other seasons. I mean, it could be we get 3 more releases for this series. That would be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of cool.
It'd be real interesting to see what they do with those other games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's very fun theme. The art is beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
Yeah, all of the pictures are just amazing.
On theme.
Yeah.
From your companions to your heroes that ride with you. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the cards, the actual dark road and the light road cards, they're all really well. I mean, they look like paintings almost that they made into card versions. So yeah, thematically, again, just when you put it all together, it's still a 10 to me.
Yeah.
Because it's still, and the mechanics fit the theme too. And so I like that part
except for the one thing. I do think that one.
But that's a minor thing.
It is so minor, I agree.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just everything fits. So I can't give it anything less than a 10.
Yeah, I can't detract. If it was like anything less, it'd be like 9.99. I mean, it's not worth arguing about. It's a 10.
Yeah,
what'd you think?
I agree. I think it's a 10. I think that they stayed on theme well, and it all feels like it's coherent.
Right.
All right. So we all agree on themes. Let's talk about the rules. So the rule book is, let's see how many pages, 10, 18, 19, 20 pages long.
Pretty good sized rule book.
Beautiful cover. Has a nice cheat sheet of icon on the iconography on the back. It has, if you get the
cheat sheet.
Yeah, it has cheat sheets. Yeah. The cheat sheets, however, do not include everything because the screen itself that you normally would play with has some of the rules. This is one thing I didn't like, was that the cheat sheet didn't include that, because when you get these bags, the only reason the screen exists is to hide your coins.
Yeah.
And these bags replace the need for the screen. But yet, if you take the screen away, you lose the cheat sheet for those rules.
You lose some of the rules.
So I wish they would have put the rules all on the cheat sheet and just left the back of the screen blank if they knew they were going to do this. Because, I mean, there's no reason to have this is already a table hog. And to have those screens takes up more real estate, and you don't need it except for the cheat sheet for the different scoring. So the rulebook is laid out nicely. It's very easy to read as far as the large font on the headers. The text is okay. It's a little small, but not bad when you get into the detail. It's a beast to set up and take down. This game is a beast.
There's a lot of bits.
Yes, if you couldn't tell just from the table. It's not a hard read, but it's hard to get the concept as you're reading it.
Right. It's like you need a good solid 2 turns to really kind of learn the game and where it kind of speeds up a little bit.
Yeah.
But the rulebook when I read through it, I had a little bit of a tough time with it.
Yeah. But honestly, the rulebook is well laid out. It's just the game is a fairly complex to learn. And it's, each space, it tells you what everything does, and the way they teach it is, I think, the best way they could have taught it. I don't think it's a problem with the rule book. I think it's a problem with just the content being that tough. Then there is, if you did get all of the Kickstarter add-ons, you got a little patrons provisions thing for any of the promos that were added.
Expansion stuff.
Yeah. And then, as we mentioned, you get this one sheet of how to store it, where everything just looks like it's falling into the place, but it's all lined up pretty much vertically on top of one another. So it doesn't really give you, and not to mention the pieces they show don't match the pieces that are in the deluxe box. So it's very hard to understand and interpret where everything goes when you're putting this away. And we spent, I don't know, probably about 30 minutes trying to figure out where everything goes to get it to match this. And finally, I'm like, it fits here. We're putting it in. But it does seal nicely. Everything is game trays type containers that, I don't know if they're official game trays, but they're definitely like them. And that everything seals tightly. And
yes, I was really happy with that, because so many games, even if they look like they got an amazing insert, when you store it on its side, stuff still falls all over the place. It does not happen in this game. Yeah.
So, I mean, even though the rules, I don't think it's a fault of the rule book.
Right.
I think it's just the complexity of this game. It's definitely, I'd say, a medium to heavy game.
I agree with that.
I'm probably going to go ahead and give this rule book an 8.5. I think it's pretty good.
I agree with that. I think an 8.5 is good. Like I said, I had a bit of a hard time reading it myself, but I was by myself. I wasn't playing it while I was reading it, and I think that if I had it out playing with someone at the same time would have been better.
Yeah. So, you
didn't read the rules. So. I did not read the rules. I did not even get to hear the rules. So,
but
you told me how to play it, but you didn't sometimes you're sitting there reading it and I'm listening and I can follow along, but not on this.
But the good news is we didn't have to do that. It was easy enough to teach once we got it down.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go through it here, at least in an abbreviated form, because it's late. You got a long drive.
I do.
All right. So basically, you have a wagon that represents your piece, and they all start over here at the Ringway Inn, or at least the intersection next to the Ringway Inn. There's 5 spaces that your wagons can move to in the game, and you're basically making a circle over and over again in these spaces. You have 7 of these blue dice, the night dice, that are going to be on your board, and when you start the game, they're arranged in such a way that you have a 1, 2, and 3 in the locked positions, and then you have 4 random roll of dice that you have that will backfill. Now, there are 2 ones on the dial, we'll point out. One that's solid and one that is not solid, open. You put it on the solid side because they have differences. So on your turn, every turn, you're going to bump one of those dice up out of its locked position into an action position where you're going to use it. And as you do, there's above it, each one of those has a corresponding bonus action you get when you bump the die. So the first one lets you produce a good based upon the die that you're putting in for your new die. So whenever you bump a die, you will get whatever you replace it with as far the matching good according to the legend that is on your board. And then the second one, you either get a lantern or you get, at the beginning of the game, you start with one of these yellow dice, a lit die, to unlock that die and put it up here so you can use it as well for that turn. Now, the yellow dice are very hard to come by. There's only a few select ways you can get them, so you want to be sparing about using them. But basically what they let you do is take a second action on the turn, and in some cases, in most cases, a bonus action of a building that sits between the spaces. There's one exception, which is the Ringway Inn and the Great Bazaar. There's no extra building between. So you will take the actions, you will take these 2 dice. The die that you bumped, the one that's free, is how many spaces you have to move your wagon. So in this case, it's a 1. So I would have to move my wagon 1 space.
And it's always adjacent to 2 buildings.
And then you can place these dice. Well, in this case, I went up the side track, so I couldn't use my yellow die. But you can choose between the 2 locations. So if I go here, I get a order
which is called a commission.
A commission, yes, thank you. To one of the locations on the remote sites that if I get the things that they want, I can get victory point. Well, prestige points. There's a difference between prestige and victory points.
And each commission's tied to a city, which is important.
So there's 6 different cities. There's 6 different order types up here. If I went to the other side of that, instead of using that action, over here at Great Bazaar, there's these market dice. And these market dice are different faces at the beginning of the game, but these will change throughout the game. And they are associated with a price at the given point in time. If I go there, the first thing I can do is I can turn the dial 1 click to the clockwise position to reduce the cost of something and increase the cost of other things. Then I can take one of the dice and turn its face to whatever face I want it to be and make it so I can buy it at a discount. And then I can, after that, purchase any of these items for the new going rate. If I do choose to purchase, I can buy all of them if I wanted, if I had the money. But if I do purchase one where there's 2 dice, I get to pay just for one of them and get both of them. So in this case, I could get 2 books for the 1 coin.
And the dice will tell you what's available. So if you don't have a dice, you can't buy that item.
Exactly. The market's out.
And you can't have more than 2 dice in a spot.
Right. So then after you're done buying, say I bought all of them, you re-roll the dice, and then you backfill. So I got 3 books, so I have to keep rolling until I get different. So I get, there we go, 2 staffs and a loot. So that's the market. We'll skip Jurg's excursions for now because that's the most complex. Ringway Inn. These are heroes that want to join you on your ride to they have different homelands and they want to get back to their homelands. Now they also have specific needs they want fulfilled in the form of market deliveries. So in order for them to join you, you have to bribe them by giving them an item.
At least 1 item.
Yes, at least one of their items they're asking for.
Yep.
But you can bribe them with all 3 of the items, or in most cases it's 3. There's a few that are just one.
And then you start with a hero.
Yes.
And they don't have any.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. You already have them.
So you give them the items, but they actually are nice enough to pay you, even though you're giving them the item as a bribe to join you. They go ahead and pay you for it at the market price.
Right.
So
which is the easiest way to make money.
Exactly. And money is key. The game, when we talk about prestige, at the end of the game, The money, the lower of your money and your prestige points determines your base score. So it's, even though it looks like victory points because it has laurels around it, it's really not victory points.
It's prestige.
Because as I found out painfully this game, I had lots of prestige points. My cash was a little light. So I lost a bunch of points that I could have had because I didn't have enough cash to join it. So you got to keep a balance on that. And I think that's a real interesting aspect of this game. So if you do, there's two types of goods. There's the base goods, which are ones you get at the market, but you can also get upgraded goods various ways. And that's what the gold side of these goods are.
Yeah, they're called advanced items, right?
Yes. And if you sell one of those to these guys, you also get a crystal and an extra $1 for each one that you sold. So the crystals are used whenever we go to the excursions, which we'll talk about. You'll get companions, and you can offer the crystals to the companions, and they will give you perks. So
some of which is really powerful.
Yeah, some really good ones.
Yeah.
Really good.
So then you have the dark market. So here, there's the dark market bag always starts on the south side, but each turn you can pay, when you go here, you can pay a coin to rotate this around. So you never want to pay more than 4 because it'd be silly because you'd just be going in a circle.
And you can't pay less than 1.
And yes, you have to pay 1. So if
Right.
you don't have any coin, you can't activate that location. So you pay whatever you're willing to pay to move the bag around, and whatever it lands on, you get. So in
And
this
it's usually
case,
2 items.
yeah, in most cases it's 2 items, and they're basically opposite ends, I believe, of the board. Yeah, each one is always an opposite end of the market. The last space lets you take one of these orders, or commissions, I should say, or one of these in-game scoring bonuses. You start the game with 1, and it's hidden. But this is one thing I thought was kind of weird because of the whole issue of balancing your coin and your prestige. There's some of them that are pure victory points, which is good. To me, that's the way they should all have been.
Right.
There's a lot of them though that give you more prestige or give you more coin.
Money. Yep.
Yeah, and some of them let you choose between the two, which is also a good thing.
Yeah, that's a fine.
Yeah.
But when you end up like I did with one, that the starting one I had gives me more prestige, but guess what? I had plenty of prestige at the end of the game. That in-game bonus is worth nothing. The first time we played this game, I had the reverse problem. I had coin. I had exactly the same. I actually balanced it perfectly and ended up with exactly the same victory point, or prestige and coin. And then I had bonus coins, and it's like, what good is that?
Right, which drove the coins up, but since your prestige was lower, you got the lower.
Yeah. So I think they should have just made all those in-game bonuses victory points. But why they chose to do it, that was my one grievance that I had with the game.
I don't know. In a way, I could see that strategy-wise. Is like, do you really, you really have to start being more picky on which ones to go after, because maybe even though it'd be great to complete this, it really goes against my strategy, so I don't want to go after that. So,
well, yeah, but you're dealt one at the beginning. So it's like, the fact that I got one that was for prestige kind of didn't matter at the end. I had to go out of my way to get, at the end game, to get a victory point bonus. But now let's go on to the excursions. This is the big part of the game. So this is where you're making the deliveries. So you have 2 options when you go on excursions. One is to go to the Ruins of Yen. Yes, Ruins of Yen. This is a private excursion. Only you go on it. But basically, it's just similar to the dark market. You rotate around the chart. In this case, the number of heroes plus 1 that you have on your carriage is how many you can move on the chart. This was kind of a weak point in my eyes because all of them yield 1 upgraded item.
I found it actually very beneficial. I used it several times, and that's just.
Well, I don't think there's a problem. I just wish there would have been a difference because all 4 spaces yield you an upgraded item.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then but 3 of them have a choice of 2 different items, and the 4th one is choose any of them. So
obviously,
so there's no real difference between which space you're on, except for maybe you need this particular item or that one. I just wish they would have put a little variance there. It just seemed like it was all the same.
Right.
And then if after you get that, you have the option of spending one of your lanterns. And if you do, you get to roll the die, and it gives you something. It may give you something decent, or it may give you one level 1 thing from the market,
which you may not even have room for.
Yeah,
and then you have to figure out what to lose.
Yeah, I mean the best case scenario, and this is really tough, is you'll get a re-roll that gives you one of the potential to get a yellow die, but you have to roll it again. So you roll it and hope for you basically roll the same thing in order to get a yellow die. So it's very unlikely you'll get a yellow die from doing that, but it's possible. The other scenario, you go there and you declare one of the remote locations, one of the 6 cities that you're going to go to make a delivery. And at that point, everybody at the table has the option of joining in. But you have to declare that, and you also have to declare whether you're going on the dark road or going on the shortcut, which is the light road. And you pay 3 lanterns to go on the light road. So right away, you only have spots on your carriage for 4 lanterns. So best case scenario is spending 3/4 of the lanterns you've got.
Right.
Then if you go on once you've decided whether you're going the light road or the dark, then everybody else gets to decide after that fact. If you went on the dark road, you get a card that has some kind of little flavor text, and then it gives you associations from 1 to 6 of the dice. This is where the travel dice come in. You get 1 travel die for you, 1 for each player who joins you, and then you also get to choose a companion. There's 3 companions available to you, the last one of which has one of these travel dice on it. If you choose the last one, you get not only do you get the companion, but you get the travel die. So you can get a maximum of 5 travel dice if everybody joins in on a 4-player game. And you take the last of the creatures. So depending on which path you take, you will roll the dice, and you will either take the first die if you went down. This is what's interesting. If you go down the dark road, you will take the first die, which means whatever the best case scenario is.
Yeah, you're about to pick the best die, so you get the best outcome.
But if you go down the light road, the shortcut one, which gets in theory better, which I didn't feel like any of them were that better.
It didn't seem like it.
Then you're going to pick the last die.
Yeah, other than there's a perk or getting 2 items.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, not necessarily this game, the first game I did play, I lost the items I needed to meet the orders, so it ruined me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you've got to really choose whether you're going to go down that light road or not. Because it is punishing when you choose, especially if you roll the dice, and let's see.
And generally,
you get all the good dice but 1.
The lower you roll, the worse it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few exceptions, but
for the most part.
So, I spent most of the time. I think this entire game, I only went down the dark road. I never went down the light road because, I just didn't see the value. Although I will say, after you do your order, because when you get to a location, you can drop off any companion or not companions, but any heroes that have joined your cause that
you
are
went
going
to the right town.
that town. And you can fulfill any orders. So you can do a lot of things at that town. You're going to get more for the orders, but you'll get all of it in prestige. Mm-hmm. The individuals, depending on the town you go to, you may get coin, you may get prestige, but you only get up to 2 is the maximum you're going to get for each hero. So the heroes really pay out when you acquire them by getting the money. You get a little bonus for delivering them, but it's really more about acquiring them. Whereas the orders are all about delivering them.
And there's bonuses for delivering advanced items versus basic items.
Yeah, basically just get one more prestige for each upgraded item. And then after that, whoever's the one who initiated the excursion, they get a perk from a list, one of which is to upgrade your carriage, which is really nice. Those carriage upgrades are really nice.
Yes, they're really nice.
But you can only have 1 per game, unless you have a specific horse that you start with. Because everybody gets a horse to start the game with at random, and that horse will give you varying perks. And I really like the horses. They give you distinctly different gameplay. But they don't feel like Well, for the most part, they don't feel like they're overpowered. There's one horse I had the first game that I really liked. I still don't know if it's overpowered, but I did win. Mm. But he gives you perks. He lets you have more than one upgrade. That's the first thing. And secondly, you get 2 prestige for every one of those upgrades you get. So it's really nice, but then it's prestige. So again, if you don't have your coin to balance, what does that matter? So, I mean, I like that they're so different because it does change gameplay. Like today's, I had one that lets you go 3 spaces no matter which die you used. You didn't have to count the pips. You can move 3 spaces regardless. And Miranda actually got 2 horses because she got the upgrade that gave her a second horse. Right. But she had one where she could add 1 to the face value of all the travel dice, which was really nice. And she could buy things at the bazaar for $2 discount.
Which
so
is big.
Yeah, I mean, she had some really powerful ones. So I don't think any of them are bad. I think we all had good ones. So there's a lot going on with this game. There's the other upgrades you can get, or you can get a yellow die. You can get a one of the in-game bonus cards if you want, or you can get additional coin. 3 coin is the default, but when you start the game, there's a bonus 5 coin pool that you can take if you're the first to do it. So you play 13 rounds, 1 for representing each week in the season. And then after that, you make 1 final delivery for free without having to do any of the other bonuses with it or what have you. And then the game's over. Figure up whichever is your high or lower of the 2, your money or your prestige. That's your base score. And then you add on any victory point cards that you completed. So it's actually, as you read the rules, the 20-page rules, it's a little harder to see that, but that's basically everything in the game right there.
So I think one thing that kind of not put me off, but it looked like it was going to be a point salad game. It's not really a point salad game. I mean, even though there's so much to the game, there's really only one way to score. It's scoring prestige and get money. And then whichever one's the lowest is your score. So it is definitely not a point salad game.
Yeah, I mean, and in this case, usually I love point salad games.
I know it.
I think in this case, because it's such a unique scoring mechanism, it's actually instrumental to this game.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad it's not a point salad game in this case. So I mean, it's very distinct game, and it gives you a distinct feel. Now, we played the first game we played. We had a lot of company here, and this game lasted all day. We really didn't expect that. Today it was a little long, but it wasn't horribly long. I'd say this is probably a 3-hour commitment. Yeah. With getting set up and all that and teaching. If you played it again and everybody knew what they were doing, they could probably play it in 2 hours, I'd say. But it says it's 60 to 120 minutes. I don't know how you're going to get 60. Maybe if you're playing solo, because it does if you have a solo option.
Oh, okay.
Or speed merges of the dark room.
But I mean, there's a lot to think about because in this game you have to plan all your moves because your dice you're mandated to move the number of spaces on them, and some of those are blank spaces, which means you can just stay where you are.
And not only that, the board changes so much because just getting commissions, each commission for 1 stack, they're all different. So the one that you really like, Randy might take it, and then the one that's underneath it is completely different. And so I don't have those goods now. It's like, thanks, Randy. Or, maybe Kevin changed the wheel, and I was getting ready to sell some staffs that are 5 apiece, and then somebody moves it, and now it's only worth 4. And I really needed that extra money to do other stuff later on in the game. Yeah. So thanks for that, too. And so the dynamic of the game changes constantly. You have to prepare for that.
Or you're looking for a wind glass hero, and everybody seems to grab them before you get an opportunity to fulfill your bonus that you're trying to get at the end of the game that you started with, and you can't do because they do that.
That might be a little
bitter.
No, not at all.
But I like that. But just go in knowing that like Brady said, you really have to plan around stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, all in all, I think it's a very interesting game. I'm still not 100% sold on that. I like it. I think it's good. I mean, it's just I don't know if it's the right game for me. It's beautiful and everything about it is interesting, but it seems like it's the same. Where there's a lot of repetition in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's so beautiful, I don't mind it that much. From a gameplay standpoint, I'm probably going to give this an 8. I think because it is so. I mean, it's engaging. It gets you into it, and there is a lot of thought. I have trouble keeping track of, even though I got the money right in front of me in this bag. I have trouble keeping track of what I need to do to make sure this is balanced with the
yeah. And I think that's the one thing I think with the bags is you're not seeing your money. I think with the screen you see it a little bit more.
Well, yeah, but you can open your bag and look at it anytime.
And I did several times to try to make sure I was doing okay, which I didn't do okay.
I mean, I guess I'm going, with the Kenny Rogers approach, and you don't count your money when you're sitting at the table, because I was very reluctant to look in my bag, and it's you really need to keep track of all that.
Do.
So what would be your score?
I would probably say, okay, so before I give my score, I think I want to. The one thing that I didn't like about this game was similar to Randy. It was those cards. It was those bonus cards.
The Dark Road and the Light Road.
No, the end game bonuses
right
here.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because if you're given an end game bonus at the beginning of the game, I feel like if everybody gets an end game bonus, then they should be able to accomplish that end game bonus. But you can't always
provide you direction on how you want to approach the game.
But it doesn't, because I was trying to use it that way, but I realized a little late that I can't get all of those things because everybody else eats them up. And so I feel like if you're going to provide that as a starting thing, then it should be something that is achievable. And that's maybe just a personal preference.
I think that, to Randy's point, if they were just all straight victory points, it would solve that. Because even if you couldn't meet it, you didn't lose a whole lot because it's just in-game bonus points. Whereas if it's the prestige or coin, I mean, it changes it. And so I
don't know if that would fix that for me, because I feel like, if somebody else can fulfill it because their requirements are a little easier to fulfill, and I can't fulfill mine because mine is
but that's in-game scoring in general.
Yeah, I know. A lot of games do have that. I'm not saying that that's but it just feels like that's something that I should be able to not rely on luck to happen. And so, but personally, was it a fun game? Yeah, it was a fun game. I enjoyed playing it. I'd play it again. Is it a game that I think I personally would call to the table? Probably not. I think I'm going to go with Randy and say an 8.
I'm going to go just a little bit higher. I think I'm at an 8.5. I really like the dynamics. I really like the interaction between each person, because other than where you can kind of just hurt each other as far as getting your commissions or your heroes, other than that, there's really no screw your neighbor element to it, other than the Dark Road. And so, because the Light Road, I don't know if we talked about it, but again, when you roll the dice, the person after you picks the first die, and you get the last die. So of course they're not going to let you keep the best die.
It's kind of the screw yourself card.
It really is, and I'd say that's probably my biggest criticism is that it's really expensive to do it. It costs 3 lanterns. Lanterns are not that easy to get. And so you can spend 3 lanterns to be able to go down this light road, which is supposed to be a shortcut. It's supposed to be like all these. And you do get 2 perks versus 1. But man, it can be so brutal if you don't get the right dice rolls. And I'm notorious with bad dice rolls. So when I roll, it's all going to be 1s and 2s. And so that 1-4 or that 1-5, I'm not going to have access to it because it's going to go to Randy or it's going to go to Kevin or Miranda because I don't get to pick the first die.
Yeah, but it doesn't bother me so much because the penalty for the cards are typically like lose 2 coin or lose. It's not like the end of the world. It's not a huge devastation.
But I play pretty lean, and so like if I only have 3 items and to meet my order and I lose an item, then I'm losing victory points.
Well, yeah, but if you're going in to take the light road, you probably are not going to do that if you're lean. You're probably going to go ahead and take the dark road because you get to pick first and you're safer.
So
which is that's the part that thematically doesn't make sense. You're going the dark way, but it's safer.
Right.
But I mean, when you combine just all the elements of the game and how much fun I have playing it, I think I'm an 8.5.
Okay. Well, I mean, all around it's a great score.
It's a great game.
It is. It's beautiful. It's thematic.
It's different.
Different, and it's definitely it's a fun game. Even our worst complaints were not that bad.
No,
right.
They are.
So that's our assessment of Merchants of the Dark Road. Let us know what you think of it if you've got it. We'd love to hear from you and some more recommendations. We love getting recommendations or suggestions. If we don't have it, we'll usually track it down. So, but yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.